Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Your Life, Your Money. People are so much fixated on having a lot of money during your retirement, assuming that having money will solve all their problems. It's rather unfortunate that this statement is partially true but not fully true. There are countless risks people will go through during the retirement phase. The trick to solve these risks during retirement requires a meticulous planning much ahead of time. In this episode, I'm going to take you through 9 such risks which you will be exposed during your retirement days. Knowledge about this is extremely essential, and the strategies to counter them should be taken during your retirement planning phase. This is NRI Money Clinic for you, and I am Dr. Chandrakant Bhatt, your financial guide for a happy living.
NRI Money Clinic. No hype, just the right advice.
Are you a NRI living outside of India for more than 10 years? Have you dreamt of a retired life in India in a beautiful house and a lifestyle of your choice? Your dream can come true only when you take some simple and effective actions today. I will take you through a step-by-step process to make this dream come true in my webinar, Stress-Free Retired Life in India. Hello, I am Dr. Chandrakant Bhatt, financial guide and founder of YouTube channel NRI Money Clinic. I have to my credit creating secured retired life for thousands of NRIs spread across more than 60 countries. If you have an intention to make your dream retirement come true, register for my webinar. More details are in the link below. You may retire with a large chunk of money, but you need to know what happens post your retirement. People don't have an experience of retirement, therefore they cannot visualize what might happen once they retire and pass a few more years. I'll take you through the various risks that you will pass through during your retirement phase, and a knowledge of this and how to counteract that will help you to plan meticulously well ahead of time. Let's look at the 9 major risks which I have listed here one by one. Number 1, the reinvestment risk. Not many people are aware about it. It's a risk which looks benign, but this is a risk which will have a potential to knock you down. What is a reinvestment risk? A reinvestment risk is you have invested your money in a fixed deposit or any other instrument for that matter, which is fixed income in nature. When it matures, you have to reposition these funds into another instrument, maybe back to FD, maybe back to a bond or any other thing. When you reinvest this money, the rate of interest that you get may not be the same as before. It could be the new interest rate. The interest rate of the future, no need to mention here, will be much lower than what it is today. A growing economy will have higher interest rate. At the same time, when the economy develops, when the demand slowly comes down, when the money circulation increases, the interest rates in the economy will fall down. This is what you experienced in countries like US, Europe, Japan, in all these countries. India will also pass through the same thing. India started with a 14% FD rate way back in the 80s, and slowly it has come down. Currently we are seeing 6.5% to 7%. But probably in all my imagination, India will never see this rate again, unless the political class messes it up and resulting in a massive inflation. So the FDs that you have today will be reinvested at lower rate in the future. What is the consequence? Consequence is now you have put a large chunks of money in your bank fixed deposit. You have a plan to leave out of the interest income coming from the bank FDs. Now let's assume that you have put a crore of rupee and you're getting, let's say, 7%. You get 7 lakhs every year. When you reinvest this money, let's say that the FD rate drops down to 4%. Then instead of getting 7 lakh, you get paid with 4 lakh rupees. That's the risk. That means during your working career, your salaries will rise year after year, or at least once in a few years, they'll have a massive jump, and that will conquer the rise in purchase prices. But during your retirement days, what happens is instead of your income rising, because of this risk, the income will go through a discount or comes down. If you're not prepared for this, it will have a knockdown effect. What can you do about it? Very simple. There are instruments which can lock your returns for your lifetime. Your annuities, guaranteed return insurance plan. These are some of the plans which will accept money today and give you a guarantee for your lifetime for you as well as your spouse. The investment return, which is impermeable to the interest rate of the day. They will not increase if the interest rates were to rise. They will not reduce it if the interest rates were to fall. You may need to have a look at these plans to conquer this risk. The second risk is the taxation risk. NRIs generally maintain fixed deposits in the NRI bank, and if you were to be living in many of the countries, unless it is taxed in your country, the interest you earn on NRE FDs is tax-free in India. There are countless, there are millions of NRIs living in the Middle East, and they don't pay any tax on the NRE FD. However, the system changes when you come back. The NRE FDs have to be converted to resident FD, and it will come under accrual tax. You may be having 5 crore FDs. You may not even draw the interest every year when you come back, but the income tax calculation takes into account that you have earned so much of interest on these fixed deposits. Whether you draw the money or not, you have to pay applicable tax at the applicable slab rate that year itself, and it goes on and on and on. On one side, your fixed deposit exposes you to the reinvestment risk, bringing your yields lower. Two, whatever you get less will also be parted with government for the tax dues you have to pay to the government. This is another calculation which can go wrong for you. What can you do? You can look for instrument which will give you tax-free status. I will not get into the details of which are the plans which are available for you to bypass the tax. It's a meticulous professional work that is required. There are many plans. Some plans suit you, some plans may not suit you. There are products in Gift City, there are products from insurance companies, there are products like mutual funds which can be managed very well to bring down the taxation. The best thing, if you are interested to conquer the reinvestment risk as well as the taxation risk, is to talk to your financial planner and let them go through what you have, what might happen, and what they can do to minimize both the reinvestment risk as well as reduction of taxes that you need to pay. In case you have no financial planner and you want our services to cater to these two demands of conquering the reinvestment risk and the taxation risk, we can help you. Our numbers are given in the description box below. You can reach out to us through a WhatsApp message. We have provided a link there. Click on the link, it takes you to the WhatsApp, and just drop us a message what you are looking for, and our team of experts are ever ready to help you to manage these two risks along with other risks that I'm going to talk about. Why delay? Send that message right now. The third risk is an inflation risk. It's a perennial risk. Whether the inflation is high or whether the inflation is low, in an economy, the prices will keep rising year after year. It's an indication that the economy is functioning. Therefore, the inflation year after year brings down the purchase value of the money that you have. Let's imagine if the inflation is under very good control. Let's assume the bank FD rate is 4%, inflation is 3%. So it's benign. Will it not affect? The answer is no. Even a 3% inflation will have consequences for you. Let's say the inflation rises by 3% per year, and over a period of 10 years, the price rise that will happen is 30%. Now combine this problem of erosion of purchase price with the two earlier risks that I mentioned, reinvestment risk and the taxation risk. It can work a deadly combination of the three. So you need to have a strategy to counter the inflation. How can you counter the inflation? You need to be investing in instruments which will conquer the inflation. Which instruments will conquer the inflation risk? The two things that come to my mind are the rentals, in case if you have the rental properties, be it the residential properties or be it the commercial properties or fractional commercial real estate, they all adjust itself for the inflation. So when the inflation rises, the yields coming out of that will also rise. The other instruments which will conquer the inflation are your investments into the stock market, be it the stocks, be it the mutual fund, ETFs, index fund, unit-linked insurance plan, or the pension plans which are linked to the stock market, or even the NPS for that matter. If you are invested in the stocks, will easily conquer the inflation risk. Make sure that you have sufficient enough money parked in this kind of an instrument to manage the problem of inflation during your retirement days. Number 4. During your retirement, it's you and your spouse. Your children are out of the house, they manage their life, they move to some part of the world. It's two of you. Now, what happens after the retirement? Husband and wife can't leave this world simultaneously. One will leave first, one will leave later. If the data is to be believed, it's the men who leave first and the women leave longer. If the age gap between the man and the woman is wide enough, most men marry a much younger woman of their age, this problem gets complicated. In most families, women do not take much of an interest in the family finances. If the husband were to leave this world earlier, she will be left with a good amount of money without any knowledge to handle the money. People around her, be it the children, be it the relatives, friends, people around her, wealth management does, and countless people in and around her will become vultures to take out this money from her. In spite of your meticulous planning, it's perfectly possible that your wife may come under pressure from all these people and she may lose the money that they have. This is a big risk. What can you do about it? Couple of things. Number one, tell your wife what not to do in case if you are not there in the world. You have to explicitly tell her what she should not do. Two, invest in products which will give you a defined payout as a joint life pension or an exclusive pension for your wife. This money no one can take out. See, month after month, whether you are there or not, she keeps getting this money and the flow of cash for her is continuing uninterrupted even in your absence. The third thing that you can do is always introduce your financial planner to your wife. And if you have a WhatsApp group where you are communicating with your financial planner, please do add her, tell her with whom you are dealing, tell her whether she can trust these people or not. Don't say that in your absence, ask your friends for an advice. This will not work out. I'm not blaming your friends. No. See, I'll tell you what's the problem that will happen. If you were to be not there in this world, your wife may find it difficult to contact your friends because it could be embarrassing for her. Similarly, your friends may find it embarrassing to contact your wife just because of the social reason. However, if there is a professional connection between your financial planner and you make your wife a part of the discussion, the problem of losing this money for wrong advice or coming under pressure can be completely managed. So I've given the 3 strategies. Make sure you attend to each one of them. Risk number 5. Losing a large chunk of your retirement corpus for unmanageable hospital bills. Many people become so stingy, they don't want to spend money on hospital, the medical insurance. They keep their medical insurance at a lower level, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh. This is too small an insurance from a medical perspective. Medical inflation is far higher. You retire at 60, you go to live up to 80, 85, 90 years. Thanks to the advancement in medical sciences, your affordability, what happens is that you forget to exit this world and the costs will rise. If you try to increase your insurance at that point of time, one, insurance company may not accept your proposal. Two, the bills can become unmanageably high. One entry into the hospital, and if there were to be a major issue like getting into an ICU, problems like cancer, kidney failure, dialysis, they will take out a big chunk of money. It is worthwhile for you to have a large enough medical insurance well ahead of time. Don't think even a 5 lakh medical insurance will be of help. I would say a minimum of 10 lakh and ideally 25 lakh and upwards is the insurance levels you must keep during your retirement days. For those of you who are too much worried about the cost or who cannot afford this, in fact, just remember one thing. A 10 lakh insurance and a 25 lakh medical insurance, the cost-wise, the difference is not much. There is also another way you can handle it. Now, if you think, okay, small bills I can manage, it's the big bills in case if they were to come, then you can't handle that money. At least keep up a top-up plan. There are pure top-up plans which are available, which will say, let's say you have a 25 lakh top-up plan and the plan says, I will not cover the first 3 lakhs. Then the premium that you pay will drastically come down. So you can manage the lower side of the bill on yourself. In case if you were to be unfortunate and bigger bills are coming in your life, that will be taken care by the insurance. By this method, you can pass on the larger risk to the insurance company. Risk number 6, the serious risk, the risk of suffering a critical illness. As we get older, we have to understand one thing. We are closer and closer to one or the other critical illness. It could be a heart ailment, it could be a stroke, it could be a Parkinson's, it could be dementia, it could be Alzheimer's. Any of these things, critical illness might strike anyone. We all think that we are very brilliant. I can think, I can analyze, I can remember everything fine. And if you are the only person who can do all these things, and if you were to suffer from a critical illness at some time post your retirement, all the planning that you have done can go wrong because there is no other person who can support you during that period. At a retirement age, make no mistake, you must have a financial planner. We all walk during our prime years. We don't need an external help. Have you seen how an old man walks? He takes a walking stick. Why? He needs an external support because he is wobbly. He can't be on his own. The same story with your finances. When you become older, even though you are absolutely a good guy, you are very analytical, finance naturally comes to you. Be prepared that you could become a victim of critical illness. Have a walking stick for your financial affairs, that is having a relationship, a dealings or a building a trust with a financial planner, and he would help you through and through your retirement days. Risk number 7, the risk of living too long. When I talk to people, many people are very, very casual. When I talk to them that you might live up to 80, 85, 90, they laugh it up and say, no, I cannot live till then. I will go by 75. Unfortunately, when will you leave this world is not in your control. If you have exhausted your money, the hospital cannot stop your treatment just because you have exhausted your money. Living too long is a good news, and living too long is also a bad news. It comes in combination. Good news, God has selected you to live long on this planet Earth. The bad news is you may outlive your money. Forget about outliving money. You may still have money, but it will be a lonely period. You are old, you are fragile, you are weak, you may or may not have your life partner by that time. She may leave early, or you may leave early, or you may leave for many years after your spouse departs. Your children are managing their life in some part of the world. Because you are old, you are not a company to many of the youngsters there. It's going to be a very lonely world. So you need to be planning this well ahead of time. Where do you live? What is your support structure? What is your security around you? How will you manage your affairs in case if you were to leave many years, 80, 85, 90 or beyond? That planning has to go. Otherwise, living too long itself is a huge risk. Risk number 8. No one thinks that this is a risk. The risk of not having a salary. Well, you may ask, what's this risk? Look, for 30, 35 years of your career, you are accustomed to receiving that money at the end of the month. What changes when you retire? What changes is you will not get that salary. Just imagine what all the things you are doing when you are getting that salary. You are paying your bills, you are not worried because you are very assured that at the end of the month, the money comes and hits your bank account. You had an assurance. You don't have to worry about whether my stock investments are performing well or not. Whether the guy whom has to pay you the rent, has he paid or not. Because there is an assured supply of money coming to you over these 3 odd decades. But when the salary stops, that's where the problem begins. All the advisors, many of them who are talking on the YouTube and other places, who talk about SWP from the mutual fund, are not conscious of the fact that the stock market will not give you return year after year. We did a research, and in the last 30 years, from 94 to 2024, out of 30 years, in the 20 years, I'm not telling in continuous, but all in all, out of 30 years, 10 years stock markets gave you returns higher than the bank fixed deposit. And in the 20 years, they have given a return which is lesser than the bank fixed deposit. Now, when your retirement is for 20, 25 years, if such a phase were to follow, which it will follow, because stock markets themselves are very cyclical, they will go in an awkward fashion. Sometimes they bounce up, sometimes they don't do anything for many years, sometimes they come crashing down. All possibilities exist. So unless you have a defined cash flow coming and hitting your bank account, this will turn out to be a huge risk. If you don't have that salary, you will dip into your investment when the capital value is lesser than what you have invested. It will create erosion of the capital. Don't be too mindful of what rate of returns you get, but have at least a defined cash flow which can cover your day-to-day expenses, what you need without worrying about whether the stock market is performing or not. When you create that salary kind of a cash flow during your retirement days, you allow your investments the required time for the markets to take over and give you that return. So don't do this mistake of not having a salary during your retirement days. If you don't have an employment, who gives you the salary? You should create salary for yourself. I told you about the annuity plan. I told you about the rentals. I told you about the guaranteed return insurance plan. These are all some of the products which you can use to create a salary kind of a cash flow during your retirement days. Risk number 9, the risk of losing your retirement corpus big time. Why this happens? Most people are salaried people. They are used to getting a salary at the end of the month. They manage their expenses, and by the end of the month, they have hardly any money in their account and they wait for the new salary. Now, what happens during your retirement days? All the plans that you have done, your PPF or your employee provident fund matures, you get your gratuity, you would have done some insurance plans which are maturing around that age. A large chunk of money comes into your account. You don't have an experience of handling large chunks of money. People become itchy and it becomes a talk of the town. People know that you have got a large chunk of money as a end of service benefit. So people will ask you for money. You don't feel like saying no. You will try and help them. Or you become so itchy, you go and buy a plot of land, you buy a property there. You go and help your children telling that, okay, you start your business, I'll give you money. Or you tell your children, you buy the house, I will give you the money. All things can happen. Or you can go and park money in some cooperative banks which will lure you with a higher rate of return. So when you do not know how to handle a big chunk of money, these are some of the ways that you may lose your entire retirement corpus. I'm not telling this as a stray incident. I'm not telling this as one-off event. It happens in the lives of countless people. When you're not habituated, when you're not trained to handle big chunks of money, number one, keep your mouth shut. Don't tell people how much money you've got during your retirement days. 2, don't part your money for business ventures of your children or helping them to purchase the house. They manage their life. They have all the time in the world. It's not that you need to be doing anything. Return of capital becomes more important than the return on capital. Don't get lured by the higher return. Worry about the safety of the institution where you have parked money. Completely avoid the cooperative banks and the smaller institutions. In case if you are obliged because of the relationship or the pressure, keep a small exposure of not more than 5 to 10%. Rest of the money should go into the safer instrument or work under the care of ethical, competent financial planners. Dear viewers, what do you think about these risks? Do you have any other risks that might affect the retirement? If you have any other risk that you want me to work on or think about it or speak on, leave that thought in the comment section below. In case if it helped you to understand what might go wrong during your retirement days and help you to take remedial measures right now, do give me a thumbs up. Do share these videos with your friends and relatives and on all the social media on which you're connected with. Thank you very much for watching this episode on NRI Money Clinic. I shall be back with you with yet another episode of Your Life, Your Money next Friday. Till then, stay safe. Jai Hind.